All right. Ah, it is. I don't know if anybody out there, we're sleep deprived from both watching TV until late into the wee hours and daylight savings time. So, we will take a moment here to get settled. If you have um, a strap of any kind, if you've got either a couple of pillows or a couple yoga blocks, a folded blanket, any of those things would be useful but not necessary. All right, so we are going to go ahead and find a comfortable seated position. Just take a couple of deep breaths. We'll lengthen our spine, pulling the crown of our head up toward the ceiling. We'll start this morning with some centering breathing. Move through some slow restorative poses. I will give you some options for some variations that will build some heat and strength. You can choose to take those variations or not. Either one is completely fine. And then we will take some time to rest at the end, breathing out some tension, and close with just a brief word from the book. So we're going to start with some bees breath. So with your eyes closed, and bring your hands near your face with your elbows and your elbows lifted and your shoulders relaxed. You can close the flaps of your ears with your thumbs. Rest your pinky fingers outside of your nostrils, but don't close them. Ring fingers at the inner corner of your eyes and your other fingers on your forehead. Inhale slowly and fully, and we're going to exhale through our nose while making a long humming sound with your throat. So inhaling fully and completely, and exhaling with a hum. And let your exhale be as long as it likes, and then do the full deep inhale again. Feeling your belly and your chest full of air, and exhale with a hum. Making a sound like a bee. Moving at your own pace. We'll do just a few more. All right. I'm going to go ahead, and if you'd like, you can open your eyes. You can rest your hands on your knees. And we're just going to gently roll our shoulders. Big circles back or small, whatever feels good in your shoulders this morning. And then we'll reverse and roll forward. And then just gently turn your neck from side to side or in any way that feels good. Dropping the right arm down to your side, lifting the left overhead, relaxing your shoulders. Stretch to the right and feel a nice stretch through your left side. Breathe into the stretch. And switch sides. We'll keep the breath moving in and out through your nostrils. Just taking a full deep breath on each side. And last side. Good. And we'll do a gentle spinal twist. So take your left arm or left hand and put it on your right knee. I'm going to lift the right arm straight up overhead. Take a nice deep breath. Feel your spine grow long and tall. And on an exhale, place your hand behind you and gently stretch to the right. This be a gentle twist, not pressing too hard, keeping your spine as long as you can. Trying to grow a little taller on each inhale and moving maybe just a tiny bit deeper in each exhale. And switch sides, putting your right hand on your left knee, inhaling to reach your arm up, growing tall, and exhaling, place your hand behind you, twisting to the left. And on each inhale, feeling your spine grow taller, and on each exhale, allowing yourself to move into the twist. Good. And release. We're going to go ahead and move into tabletop to get ready for cat-cow. If you've got a blanket and you want to put it under your knees, you're welcome to do that. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrists, your hips are over your knees. And if you'd like an extra strength building challenge, you can tuck your toes and let your knees hover an inch or so off the ground and move through cat-cow in this position. But if you'd like to drop your knees, that's completely fine too. So on an inhale, we'll bring the chest forward, lift the chin, drop the belly. And on an exhale, bring the belly to the spine, round the shoulders, release the head. Go ahead and move through a few of those at a rate that feels good for your breathing. On each inhale, pulling the chest forward to try to get this back bend through your upper back more than in your lower back. And on each exhale, bringing the belly button up to the spine and releasing your shoulders. Let's move through two more. And we'll spread the knees, bring the big toes together, hinge back in your hips, walk your hands forward, and move into child's pose. If you'd like to, you can put a block or a pillow underneath your forehead or your chest. Welcome to put a blanket behind your knees or under your knees. You can walk your hands forward, lifting your forearms up off the ground. Take a couple deep breaths here. You can continue to breathe here, or if you'd like to do a little bit of a side stretch, you can bring your right elbow to your right knee and walk your left hand over to the right and just feel a stretch through that left side, keeping your hips back and breathing into your side. Imagining that you're sending the breath through the left side as it stretches. If you feel any pain, back off a little bit. Always listening to your body and backing off and taking rest anytime that you need. Now you can bring the left elbow to the left knee. Walk the right fingertips forward and then over to the left to feel a stretch through that right side. Keeping that right hip glued to your heel, getting a nice stretch through the right. Good. And release. All right, we're going to go ahead and move into our first downward dog. Coming back into tabletop, tucking your toes, bringing your feet about shoulder width apart, walking your hands about a foot forward, and then keeping your knees bent at first, lift your hips up and back, press down through your fingertips. Make sure your hands are slightly turned out so that your index fingers are parallel to each other. Press down evenly through your hands and your feet. Feel your spine grow long. Maybe shake your head yes and no. And then we'll alternate straightening one leg at a time, starting with straightening the right leg, keeping the left bent, breathing into the right calf, trying to press down evenly through both hands. And switching, straightening the left leg, bending the right. Continuing to let that breath flow fully and deeply in and out through your nose. Let's switch one more time. Bending the left leg. And switching again, bending the right leg. Good. Then work both legs toward straight. If you'd like to keep them both bent, that's completely fine. That is good for your lower back to keep your legs a little bit bent. But if you're feeling like you've got the space to, you can work your legs toward straight. Take a breath here. And then we're going to move forward into plank position. So in plank, keeping the shoulders over the wrist. If you'd like to, you can drop down to your knees. You can place a blanket underneath your knees. That's always an option in plank to drop to your knees. But if you'd like, you can also keep your legs straight. Either way, try to keep your shoulders over your wrist. Keep your lower belly hugging up, creating length through your spine. Working your tailbone towards your heels, protecting your lower back.
keeping your chest lifted and your head in neutral. If you'd like to add a little bit extra of a strength challenge, you can alternate lifting the right and left leg with the breath, lifting the right leg on the inhale, coming down to the exhale, lifting the left leg on the inhale and lowering on the exhale. You can also stay in plank, either with your knees up or your knees down. Any of those variations that you choose for yourself today are just fine. Good. One more deep breath. All right, lift your heels or your hips up and back, moving into a downward facing dog. Take one breath here, and then we'll walk the hands to the feet and come into a forward fold. You're welcome to keep your legs bent for this forward fold. You can have your hands on the ground, on a block, on your shins or your thighs, wherever feels good in your body today. Bring your weight forward so it's more in your toes than in your heels. You can keep your hands grounded, or if you'd like, you can hold on to your elbows. Remember to continue to breathe. Forward fold is a great option for relieving stress. If you notice yourself feeling stressed, you could try taking a few moments, fold forward and take a few breaths. Good. Bending your legs, bring your hands to your hips, and go ahead and come to stand. Good. All right, we're going to go ahead and do a 5-pointed star. So we're going to bring our feet maybe 3 or 4 feet apart. They can be as wide as your hands, or they can be a little bit shortened, wherever you'd like. And then we're going to bring our hands out to the side and turn our palms down. I want you to feel the energy moving between your fingertips, seeing if you can create as long of a line as possible between your fingertips. And bring your tailbone down toward the ground, again creating that length through your spine, keeping your lower belly hugging in, shoulders down away from your ears, head in neutral spine. See if you can relax your forehead and your jaw. Maybe closing your eyes for a moment. Toes should be pointing straight forward. You can have a little micro bend in your knees. This is a stagnant pose, but we want to have the energy activated and moving. So again, feeling that elongation through your arms from fingertip to fingertip, making that line as long as possible. We'll take about 3 more breaths here. Let your breaths be as slow and smooth and deep as possible. Good. Put your hands on your hips for a moment. And we're going to keep the feet where they are, but externally rotate your toes. So bringing your heels in and your toes out. Feel free to shorten your stance if you'd like. Again, keeping the tailbone pointing down toward the ground, lower belly hugging in,
shoulders back, chin in neutral, and then you can go ahead and bend your knees. So you want to adjust your stance so that your knees are as close to directly over your ankles as possible. And then you can keep your hands here, or if you like, you can bring them into cactus arms. So for cactus arms, we're going to start straight up, palms facing forward, and then feeling the muscles of your back engage, you're going to bring your elbows down, pulling your shoulder blades together, hands out, fingers spread, palms facing forward. Press down through both legs. Then the legs and the core and the arms all activated, while relaxing your forehead and your jaw. Keep the breath flowing. If you're feeling this maybe in your thighs, imagine sending your breath there. If you need to back off a little bit at any time, feel free to do so. You're welcome to try closing your eyes, but know that will add a little bit of a balanced challenge. So if you'd like to challenge yourself in that way, you're welcome to. Let's do 2 more breaths here. Good. Bring your hands to your hips. Straighten your legs. And then bring your feet back together. Good. All right, we're going to go ahead and move to the front of the mat. Your feet shoulder width apart. Spread your toes. Press down through both feet. Activate your calves, tightening your calves, tightening your thighs, even a micro bend in your knees, rolling your shoulders back, pulling the lower belly up, bringing the tailbone down toward the ground, head in neutral, and then externally rotate your hands. We'll hold mountain pose for a moment. Mountain pose is another one of those that looks easy, but as we activate all the muscles in our body except for our face, it can be a very active pose. Again, see if you can activate the muscles of your body while simultaneously relaxing all the muscles of your head and your face and your neck. Get the hands flowing just a little bit. We're going to inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, and exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hands together. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hands together. Do a couple more. Good. We're going to go ahead and move into a crescent lunge. So with your feet still about shoulder width apart, I'm going to start by bringing your right foot back, going high up on your toes, keeping your feet still about shoulder width apart. We're going to bend that back leg so that your tailbone points down toward the ground, again protecting your lower back. And then if you can work your leg towards straight without letting your lower back fall forward, you can work toward that, but you can also keep that leg bent. And you can bend the left leg a little bit more, trying to bring the left knee over the left ankle. You can keep your hands on your hips, or if you'd like to, you can float your arms up overhead. Bring the right hip forward so that you're not opening to the right.
And we'll do a little bit of a flow with the arms like we were in mountain. Inhaling to flow up, exhaling, bringing the hands to the heart. You're also welcome to just keep your hands on your hips. Let's do 2 more. Good. Bring your hands to your hips. Bring the feet back together. Take a deep breath. And then we'll step the left foot straight back. Again, you can have this stance long or short. We're working this knee to be over the ankle, but if it's a little bit farther back, that's okay too. Stay up on the balls of the left foot. Keep the left heel pulling forward so you're not opening to the left. And bringing the tailbone toward the ground to protect your lower back. And that might mean that your left leg will be a little bit bent. That's completely fine. Let's go ahead and add the arms if you'd like, but you're also welcome to keep them on your hips. Inhaling to sweep the arms up. Exhaling, bringing them together at your chest. Pressing down through both feet as evenly as possible. Not letting the weight be too far back or too far forward. Let's try 2 more. Good. Bring your hands to your hips and bring your feet together back at the front of your mat. Very good. All right, we're going to go ahead and move into a low squat before we move down to the ground for today. So bringing your feet about mat width apart, so a few inches wider than your hips, with your toes slightly pointed out. You can put your hands on your hips to start, and you're going to go down as far as you can to the ground. If you've got a block or a pillow, you can always set that underneath you. You'll bring your hands together at your chest, and you'll use your elbows to press your legs out. So again, you can stay here on a block the entire time and just breathe. But if you would like to build some heat and strength, go ahead and remove that block. In this low squat garland pose, we want, as most of our yoga poses go, to keep the spine long. So we don't want to hunch forward at all, always working toward a nice straight spine. And you can stay right here, taking breaths. We've got a few options if you'd like to work a little bit more strengthening in today. You can lift the hands up overhead and lift about an inch or 2 up higher than you were. Again, keeping length through the spine. Be rising another inch or so. Continuing to breathe. Continuing to keep the length in the spine. Be rising 1 more inch. And coming back down into your squat with your hands together. Continue to take a couple more breaths.
And then we'll have that option to build the heat one more time, lifting the arms up next to your ears while keeping your shoulders down and lifting a couple inches up off your heels. Breathing. Lift up another inch or two. See if we can do 3 more breaths. Anytime, feel free to go back down to your heels. Good, hand release. One more deep breath. And we'll move down to the ground. Oh, very good. All right, we're going to move into a wide angled seated forward bend. So we're going to bring the legs as far out as comfortable. You're welcome to sit up on a blanket if you'd like, or a pillow. You want to keep your feet flexed. You're welcome to bend your knees a little bit if you need to. Nothing wrong with that. The most important thing is to keep the length through the spine. So you can stay right here, or if you've got a little bit more space, you can walk your hands forward, keeping the length through your spine and feeling that stretch on your inner thighs. Only move as far forward as you can with a flat back. Breathing into the stretch. You might find as you breathe that you have a little bit more space and can fold a little bit farther forward, or maybe not. Either one is just fine. But continue to breathe either way. Let's do 3 more breaths. Good. Walk your hands back up. Bring the legs together. And we're going to turn to the side and do a little bit of play in boat. So we'll give you lots of options for how you can move in boat. So you want to, again, keep that length through the spine. You can start with your feet flat on the ground. You can hug the back of your legs. You can put your hands behind you. Whatever you do, just try to keep the spine long. You can begin to lift the heels, straighten the arms, again, only if you can keep the length through your spine and you feel stable. You can play with lifting one foot and then the other. You can try lifting both legs. And if you'd like, and you can keep the length in your spine, you can release the back of your legs and try holding your arms out. And you can move through different variations, continuing to move or finding a position that you'd like to hold if you'd like to try to build a little bit more strength. Again, whatever is going to work for you this morning is the right choice for you. But keep the breath flowing regardless of what you choose. Good. And relax. All right, I'm going to give you a couple options for a back bend. You can either do a reverse tabletop, which I will show you first. So for the reverse tabletop, you bring your hands and your feet probably about as wide as they were for cat-cow. And from here, with your fingers facing your heels, feet about shoulder width apart, you can lift your hips up off the ground as far as you can, allowing your chest to open and your tailbone to pull away from you. So you can do this variation if you'd like. Breathing through your chest. You can go up and down with the breath, so lifting up on an inhale, lowering on an exhale. Or if you'd like a little bit more of a challenge. Oh, for whatever reason, every time an alarm goes off in their room, she starts telling me the weather. If you'd like, you can bring your feet straight out in front of you. Alexa, stop. And lift your hips up with your legs straight. Either way, you want to expand through your chest, and you can keep your head in neutral spine, or you can float your head up a little bit, working your toes toward the ground, or you can keep those legs bent. Again, feeling free to flow with the breath, rising and falling with each breath, or you can hold and breathe. Good. And release. All right, we're going to slowly work our way toward the ground. If you've got a strap, you can grab it, lay back flat on your back. If you don't have a strap, that's completely fine. I'll show you how to do what you can do without it. And if you do have it, just have it nearby. We're going to straighten the left leg, pulling the heel away from us, flexing the heel, creating lots of length. And then hug your right knee in toward your chest. And you can stay right here. Or if you'd like, and you've got a strap, you can put the strap on your foot and straighten your leg straight up overhead. Now the idea in this pose is not to pull your foot back toward your chest, but to make a 90-degree angle with your legs and pull your hands straight down toward the floor. So this is a lower back release. You may feel it a little bit in your legs, but the idea is to release lower back. So if you need to bend that leg a little bit to feel the lower back release, you're welcome to do that, or keep it straight. But again, remember, we're not pulling the foot toward chest, just pulling that heel down toward your hips and letting the lower back release. Take a few deep breaths here. Again, you can just keep hugging your knee into your chest as well. We'll just do 2 more breaths here. Good. Hug your knee back into your chest and release to the ground. This time we'll bring the left leg in, flex the right foot, and you can hug your left knee into your chest and just hold right here, breathing deeply. Or if you've got a strap and you'd like to wrap the strap around your foot, you're welcome to do that as well. Again, remember, you can keep the leg bent, but you want to keep your heel over your hips and not let it come in like this if you're going to do the legs bent. Again, we're aiming for a 90-degree angle with the legs, pulling the hands straight down towards your hips to let the lower back release. Take a few deep breaths here. Good. Bring your knee into your chest.
Move your strap off to the side. We're all done with it. And release your legs. Good. Go ahead and bend the legs, and we're going to move into happy baby pose. So for happy baby pose, you have a few options. You're going to bring your knees wide, and you can start by just putting your hands behind your knees and pulling them into your chest with your legs spread apart. You can stay right here, or if you've got a little bit more space, you can wrap your hands around the outside of your feet and try to bring your thighs parallel to the ground while working your hips toward the ground. Again, looking for a lower back release, not lifting your hips up off the ground. So again, if this version is not accessible for you, just put your hands behind your legs, wherever they are. Could be here, just wherever is feeling good. And take those slow, deep breaths. One more deep breath. Good. And release. And we'll move into reclined pigeon pose. So with your heels, so that your fingertips can just touch them, feet shoulder width apart. Lift up the right leg, cross it over the left, and you can put some gentle pressure on the right leg. You can stay right here. And if you'd like to move a little deeper, you can interlace your hands behind your leg and pull your left leg in towards you while pushing your right leg away from you. Go ahead and keep both feet flexed. That protects our knee joint. And same thing as in Happy Baby, keep your hips down on the ground. And switch sides, crossing the left leg over the right knee. Again, feeling free to stay right here, and also feeling free to interlace your hands, pulling your right leg in towards your chest while pressing the left leg away from you. Good. And release. And go ahead and do a supine twist before we move into our resting pose. So go ahead and straighten the right foot, bring the left leg up to a 90-degree angle, and then allow your left leg to fall to the right. You can put a pillow or block or something underneath this knee if you'd like. That way it can relax even if it can't quite reach the ground. You want to keep your left shoulder glued to the ground. You can extend your left arm straight out. You can gaze over your left shoulder, or you can keep your head in neutral spine. Good. And we'll go ahead and switch sides, straightening the left leg, bending the right, letting the right leg fall over to the left,
keeping your right shoulder glued to the ground and not forcing anything. Let this twist go as deep as gravity will naturally bring it. And breathe into the feelings of the twist. And release. And for our resting pose tonight, or this morning, I'm going to show you a different variation. You don't have to choose this. You can choose whatever one's going to work for you. But if you've got a pillow or a blanket that you can put underneath your shoulders, and then if you've got a couple pillows or a couple yoga blocks that you can use to support your knees. If you don't have anything to support your knees, you can try this, but you might choose to just do the regular resting pose with your legs bent like this, or with your legs straight out. But if you have something that you can support your knees with, or if you just want to try it without, I'm going to bring the bottoms of our feet together. You can bring your heels as close to your sitting bones as you like. So you can bring them farther out, farther in. And then if you've got blocks or something that you can set underneath your knees to support you. And if you'd like, you can get a thicker pillow to sit up a little bit higher if that feels better. Or again, you're welcome to move into our normal resting pose with the knees bent or with legs straight out. I encourage you to bring your shoulder blades together underneath your body and to either rest your hands on your belly, or you can put your left hand on your belly, your right hand in the center of your chest to feel the rise and the fall of your breath. Or you can bring your palms up, put your hands out to the side. Whatever's feeling right today. And if you'd like, I invite you to go ahead and close your eyes. And begin to bring your awareness back to your breath. Noticing each in breath, how it feels in your body. Noticing each out breath. Allowing the breath to move at a pace that is relaxed and comfortable for you. Seeing if you can keep your attention on the breath. Maybe saying to yourself, in, with each breath in, and out, with each breath out. And for a couple minutes, you can just see if you can stay connected to your breath. And if your mind begins to wander, you can let it, or you can gently bring it back to your breath. Just take a couple minutes here to connect to your breathing. And as you continue to breathe, we're going to see if we can allow our exhales to help us release tension we might be holding and soften into these places. So with nice full inhales and nice slow exhales, see if you can release any tension you might be holding in your forehead. Relaxing and releasing any tension that you might be holding around your eyes. Softening your jaw and your mouth. Seeing if you have room to soften and release in your shoulders and your neck. Allowing the weight of your core, your chest, your hips, allowing that weight to be held by the floor, feeling your body grow heavy and feeling the ground beneath you support you. Releasing tension in your hips. Relaxing and releasing in the knees, the calves, and the feet. And taking just a few more breaths. Noticing on each inhale any place where you might have room to relax a little bit deeper. And seeing if you can release and rest with each exhale. Allowing yourself to relax as fully as possible. And if there are places where you just can't relax, just can't release the tension, that's okay too. Just notice it without judgment and continue to breathe in any of those places. And now hear these words from the things you can see only when you slow down. Love yourself despite your imperfections. Do you not feel compassion for yourself as you struggle through life? You are so eager to help your friends, but you treat yourself so poorly. Stroke your heart once in a while and tell yourself, I love you. And now you can gently bring your attention back to the room. You can gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. And anytime you are ready, I invite you to open your eyes. You can slowly roll over onto your left side, using your hands to support you as you slowly make your way back up to a comfortable seated position. Hope in the midst of all the craziness that is going on in the world around us, that you found some space this morning to rest and to observe yourself with love and not judgment. Hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for practicing with me today.